Welcome to Post Ride. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Nick. Today we're talking to Joce Camarra. But first, what's new, Andrew?
Well, I went outside on the bike,
Was it
and
outsidey?
it was cold and snowy, and in some places icy. But I have been riding the bike with more frequency, and I did my first official outdoor ride post surgery with you and Clippy and the mayor, which was pretty spectacular. We could all actually get together.
Yeah, it was nice. We didn't ride overly long, but it was just nice to have
Well,
the crew all back together again.
yeah, you were a little confused because I've changed a little. Because
Somewhat.
I stopped. I said, we're done. I need to turn around. I'm learning that I need to respect my limits a little bit, you know. But
Yeah,
I,
don't worry. There's a few of us that are going to keep you accountable for that.
oh, I know. Yeah.
Just making sure you know that.
Oh no, I am well aware.
Because it's been entirely too long since we've been out and about on fun road rides with you.
Yep. Yeah, I know. But I also did my first solo ride. I was kind of comfortable enough to do that, and I ended up doing about 20 miles on my own, kind of my own speed, much slower than I usually do. So that was a little frustrating, but I'm
When was
also
that? Was that after we went out?
yeah, that was a couple days after.
Before, the day after, I assume, because it's been snowing ever since.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I shouldn't say snowing ever since. We just had a big snow later that day, and
we're slowly getting back into the swing of things, doing some workouts here and there. Mostly zone 2, trying to build up my base. Really just trying to get back into it. And also, TT Bike, I see you in the background lurking. I'm coming for you.
she's right there.
I'm coming.
She's right there.
I'm not ready quite yet. I have a few more weeks.
Should I take the aero bars off and give it back so that way you can't get into that position?
Dude, honestly, the mere thought of me like leaning forward in that position, like even doing this right now,
Yeah,
I'm not applying pressure on my elbow.
You're a good couple months away from getting into that position again.
So what's new with you though? Because there are some things that are new,
yeah. So
or lack
obviously
thereof, that are no longer new.
they're no longer mine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I sold a bike. I sent my Domani to the pros closet, and I think I've talked about this on the show before that I want to replace my road bikes with a disc brake bike and just have one road bike instead of two. I know you don't agree with me.
I'm going to be the Chris Froome of the group and just the last holdout.
That's fine. Andrew and I were talking off camera that I had just stopped out to the Trek shop to see Graham. Those listeners remember Graham from last season's episode. And I said the same thing to him, and he's like, "Yeah, I kind of went through that process 2 years ago." And he said, as soon as I got rid of my last rim brake bike, he said I've been super happy with having all disc brake bikes. So, and he's a much lighter rider than both of us. So, if he thinks it's a good move, then I'm reassured that that's the right move. So I still have one more bike to sell.
If anybody wants a fort with some really sweet components on it, yeah, hit us up. I mean, I'm not going to say disc is good. Right. I love disc brakes, and I've had hydraulic. I've had hydraulic actuated. But
love the frame that you have so much.
Yes, that's my problem, and I'm cheap.
Like if you could get the same geometry and ride feel that you have with that bike in a disc brake setup, I would be willing to bet, as long as it wasn't an astronomical sum to get that bike, that's what you would want.
Yeah. I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, disc is way more effective at stopping, at late braking, at safety situations, like having to slam on the brakes for.
Well, and that's what it is for me.
The lady around with the stroller, that
especially around here, because there's so many fairly steep, short hills that we have to go down, and then it's an intersection at the bottom that you can't just cruise through.
And it's like because it's a 5-way.
Right. And so for me, it's just having that confidence in knowing that my brakes are going to perform when I need them to, and not have that diminishing brake stopping power when it is most important.
Yeah.
If I was racing and I didn't need to rely on the brakes as much, I could see myself holding out and being a Chris Froome, and
a Rich Froome.
A Rich Froome.
Do those two coexist? I think
no, but yeah. So I've got one more bike to sell. I've been looking at some bikes as potential replacements for my 2 road bikes. I haven't pulled the trigger on anything yet, but that's where I'm going with it. like Andrew said, we did our first outdoor group ride as our usual foursome over the weekend. It was a little chilly, but it was good to have everybody together, and kind of amazing with everybody's schedules that it all worked out, because
Yeah.
between weekend working, kids, family commitments, it's been a challenge getting the regular crew together for anything but a Zwift ride. And you got to play a new role. You didn't mention this. You actually DS'd a race that the mayor and I took part in.
I did, and it was actually kind of fun. Like I really enjoyed it. So obviously, last week I wasn't really uh in a place to be able to race. Or no, this is 2 weeks ago actually.
No, it was last week.
Was
It
it?
was last week.
They're
Yeah.
all blurring together. It's been crazy. But yeah, I was finally in a place where I'm watching the race and I'm on FaceTime audio with you guys and kind of helping Chris out or the mayor. Oops, give
We've
away his
called them.
identity.
We've called them both before. It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, because he's not as experienced in Zwift racing. He is very experienced in real
Yeah,
world racing.
he has significantly more real world racing than both of us combined.
Yeah,
But his Zwift racing is lacking comparatively, and it's if you haven't done one or the other, they're very different.
Yeah.
How you strategize, how the efforts are. I mean, it's all very different. And
I'm not gonna lie. I really did enjoy that capacity, and it kind of made me think a little bit about, like, I don't know, like how do I do that a little bit more?
it makes you. I think it makes you evaluate your racing a little bit too as you're watching somebody else go. And
Yeah, because like I'm watching his heart rate, I'm watching his throughput, I'm also watching the course to kind of anticipate, like, okay, Chris, we're gonna have to ramp it up a little bit. You got a hill coming up that's a 5%er. Start to push, 3, 2, push, and like, really helping him through that. And it was really cool and rewarding in a very different way. And I didn't really expect that. I was just kind of expecting to get on with you guys and
you kind of just wanted to scratch that itch while not actually being in the race itself,
yeah,
because your shoulder wasn't quite ready to put out that kind
yeah,
of effort.
yeah,
So
exactly.
that was kind of interesting having you on as a DS, even though you mostly followed Chris. It
I
was kind
followed
of,
you.
yeah, but
I was creeping. I was flopping back and forth,
no,
actually.
I know that, but I'm saying like your commentary over the
Yeah.
FaceTime audio was mostly geared toward
Well,
Chris.
I mean, you've done it before, so you know the dolphin course, and
Yeah, I don't like the Dolphin as much as I like the Bell lap, mostly
the
because
bell
of the
lap's nice. Yeah.
well, just for my style of riding, the Bell lap is more fitting, because
Yeah.
I get the rollers out of the way, which is where the elevation change is, and then I can really take advantage of the overall downhill coming back to the finish line. Whereas the other way, the rollers are a little bit harder for me to gain a lot of traction or distance going towards the finish line.
Everything's better than Bologna.
Yeah, I intentionally skip that race anytime it comes up.
I did it the
But
other day, and it was terrible.
yeah, it never gets easier.
No, it
And
gets harder.
I'm not even convinced that I'm going any faster.
My time comparatively was faster from the first time I did Bologna, which admittedly was like 2 years ago. But yeah, it still was terrible.
Yeah,
Anyhow,
I did make a purchase though.
I saw. Yeah,
Well,
you
we can.
you,
I think
you
we can put a
freaked me
link.
out a little bit because you were like, I sent the bike to Colorado, and I made a purchase, and I was like, oh my god, did he pull the trigger already on that XYZ bike that we were talking about?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I didn't buy a bike, but I did. I did finally buy the X Tiger 5 lens glasses that I've been looking at for a while. We can
That are taking the
post a
group
link.
ride by storm.
Yeah, because there's actually a few other people. Ted uses them. I know there's 2 pairs in plus because I got a set for Seth that are pink.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So there's at least 4 pairs in our group now. But they're for
Exceptional
$32.
value. I mean,
For $32,
yeah.
they seem like a pretty good quality set of glasses because I mean, we're cyclists. We're going to be hard on our eyewear. So I don't really want to spend $200 on a pair of sunglasses that are going to just get beat up.
No, I agree with you 1,000%.
So if I have to spend $30 every year on a new pair of inexpensive glasses, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, they've been in my Amazon cart for like months.
My only complaint, and we've talked about this before, I want to find a cycling style multi-lens glasses that one of the lenses is the photochromatic.
You're not gonna find it.
I know, because I mean, well, you have those Rock Bros that are really cool, and Rock Bros makes a photochromatic lens, but their multi-lens kits don't include the photochromatic. Because I'd be willing to spend $10 or $15 more to include that, because I don't use all 5 lenses.
Nobody does.
I very rarely use the yellow ones, and I actually use the clear ones more than I use the yellow ones.
If you rode more at night, you'd use the yellows.
I actually, when we rode that night, I had the yellow ones in, and I actually felt like I would have appreciated the clear lenses better.
Yeah, I can see that.
So,
but
moving on though to what's becoming my favorite segment is our fan question of the day. This week's question comes from Wet Rider 6969. Wet Rider asks, I went out biking last night in a light drizzle, and it got me thinking, how bad does it have to rain for it to be unsafe for biking? I think the easy answer I think the easy answer to this question is it depends.
Is it a Miami rain? Because that's not safe to do anything in.
Well, so to me, it depends on how and where you're riding. Because if I'm on the Panhandle, I can safely ride with much heavier rain than I can if I'm out on the roads.
Yeah.
So that's
a trail for those that don't know.
Yeah.
What the
So the Panhandle is a rail trail that's fully paved for about 17 miles by us. So for me, where you're riding is one of the factors.
Yeah.
Also, the type of riding you're doing, it doesn't say, but I'm kind of assuming you're road riding if you're asking this question.
If you're mountain biking, it's a little dangerous, a little hairy. I mean, plus it's not really responsible on the trails.
It can also be a little bit more fun that way too, though.
Well, yeah, but also
you can tear up the trails and
really piss off the locals unless you're a local, and then you might piss off yourself. Who knows?
But I would also say it would depend on the terrain. So if you're in a very rolling or hilly area, riding in the wet is going to be much more dangerous than if you're just.
For those that haven't hydroplaned on a bike, it is
good on you.
Yes, congratulations on not
getting brown shorts.
Yes, not essing your pants. Because it's happened on 2 occasions for me, and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've never had bike wobble, but I imagine that's on the same level of terror as speed wobble is.
So it happened to me once, and I was coming down a hill, trying to think of where it was. It was out in Cecil somewhere. This is whenever I lived in South Fayette. I was coming down a hill in the wet, and I hit one of those runoff areas on top of a paint, and I tried to move off the paint, and I turned the wheel, and the bike did not move. I went to go lean, and I just continued straight, and I was like, oh my God, what is going on? So I just kind of maintained and just hoped that I could slow enough that I wasn't going to totally bite it. And somehow I did, and then I felt some traction come back, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to make a phone call. I'm done for the day.
Yeah, it really comes down to a lot of factors, but I think the biggest factor is your comfort. If you feel it's unsafe, then it's time to get out everyone's least favorite tool to use while out on a ride, and that's your cell phone to get someone to pick you up.
And if you're the Wicked Witch of the West, obviously you probably want to avoid water because you may melt. Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things, how much can you tolerate being soaked? It's up to you. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I don't look at it from that perspective as much, simply because I can deal with being wet, but the conditions that it creates maybe more than.
Yeah, light drizzle is probably the most I do.
Yeah, I certainly don't go out intentionally when it's raining, but
I'll risk it for a drizzle.
Yeah, but there's times that you're gonna make a bad guess or catch the day when the meteorologists are way off and it says 0% chance of rain, and it's raining
every day in Western Pennsylvania.
I didn't say they were wrong. I said they were way off.
We're gonna get 32 inches of snow. Next day, oh, 3 inches. Cool. Okay.
It's going to snow between 2 and 15 inches, and it's going to start sometime between Sunday morning and Thursday afternoon.
I'm just saying,
and we might not get any at all.
Whenever the Comcast guy is more accurate with his time window than the meteorologists are, we know we have a problem.
That's why I stopped using meteorologists and just used apps.
That's why I just look outside and I'm like, whatever, risk it. Anyhow.
But wet rider, to me, it really comes down to the location and the type of riding you're doing and what you're comfortable in. So if you're riding and you feel like you're losing traction, it is definitely raining too hard for safety. If it's raining to the point that you're soaking wet, but you feel comfortable in the ability to still handle the bike and get yourself back home safely or back to your car safely, then I think you're on the okay side of how hard it's raining. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, 100%.
So this week we mentioned we're talking to Joce, and Joce is a little different than some of the other guests that we've had. And can you tell us a little bit about Joce, Andrew?
Yeah, so Joce is one of those people that, yeah, she's a little different because she's not a roadie, and honestly, she's one of the reasons and kind of considerations why we changed the podcast name, so we could talk to a wider variety of different people. But Joce loves all things BMX and has a huge love for the bike community in general, really. You know, she kind of takes the approach of if you're on 2 wheels, you're a friend of mine, as coined by Calvin Jones.
Yeah.
But like I said, she does BMX. That's her primary sport, but she's, feeling out other avenues like mountain biking and
yeah, I was going to say,
slowly getting into that.
Listen to the end for her dream bike. It's not a BMX bike. So
yeah. But make sure it was a really great conversation. Super fun to talk to her about.
We had an absolute blast talking to her. She had an appearance from one of her furry friends, which you'll see as part of the interview.
Oh yeah. But
if you haven't seen that already on our Instagram page,
make sure you follow the unofficial queen of Cheeseballs on Instagram. She's just fun, hilarious, a ball of energy, and just a really good person. Welcome to Post Ride, podcast for all things cycling. Let's get rolling. Joce, welcome to the show. It's good to talk to you. I know it's a little bit different. You're not a roadie, and I know this is going to be a shock to people, but yeah, welcome to the show.
There are other kinds of bikes.
I know.
Thank you for having me. And yeah, BMX is the only really one that I know. So I'm excited to learn more too.
That's awesome. I know nothing other than the 97 Dymo that I had with I don't know what it was, but the headset you could turn.
Oh, gyro.
Yeah, I had one of them, and then it rusted out because I didn't take care of it.
So gyro wasn't quite a gyro.
No,
either.
it was very not gyro-y. Yeah.
One lane.
Yeah. It was really good at straight, and that's about it.
It's kind of fitting for you though, because you like to just go fast. So
I won't go fast.
Then that's perfect. That's all you need, just straight line. Gyros are like a blessing and a curse. Like a blessing if you're trying to do tricks and you don't want to get caught up in your brake cable, and the curse if you don't really know how to use it, which is what my first first had for racing, and the amount of times that I died on it was gnarly. Like, yeah. That gyro gets you.
So when did you first see BMX and go, hell yes, I want to do that? Where did it all begin for you?
Yeah, so kind of random. So my uncle had raced when I was little. He's only a little bit older than me, more so like a big brother than anything.
Okay.
And I really didn't think anything of it. I think the thing I cared most about was like the fact that my mom and grandma used to let me dye my hair like half red and half green, which wasn't even his colors, had nothing to do with his bike. Like just, hey, let's do the kid's hair and send him to the racetrack. So that was kind of like my first experience with BMX, but kind of nothing came out of it. A couple of years later, my family and I used to do long bike rides like Acadia National Park, the carriage roads. I had a bike I actually still have, which is like a hybrid. It's like a Trek bike that's got Fox stickers on it, because I had to deck it out. And we would do like, what I thought was a lot of miles, which was like 17 miles at a clip. And, we'd do it at the time and it was great. But I knew how to ride a bike from when I was like 4 and didn't pick up a BMX bike till I was about 25. And really, so I accelerated story here. I was a cheerleader.
Okay.
I was a gymnast. I was all the crazy things that you could get hurt with. That was like an adrenaline junkie. I did all your other sports, like dance, softball, that kind of stuff. Cheerleading was more so my passion. And I thoroughly enjoyed landing on my head and having to try to keep any kills. Like it was something where I was like not happy until I landed the hard, scary thing.
Yeah.
And I was on 3 teams when I was in college. I was on an all-star team, a college team, and I was like a cheerleading camp counselor on a team for that. And I loved it. I loved every second of it. And I kind of lost it when I went to go to student teach to be a phys ed teacher.
Okay.
And because I was traveling 3 hours or 2 hours to practice. Actually, it was probably about 3. 3 hours practice, 3 hours home. And that was every Thursday night and every Sunday. And sometimes I would just stay there from Thursday to Sunday with, my coach and they had like a big cheer house and everything else,
Okay.
which was pretty rad. But I lost that passion once I started student teaching because that was, I needed to kind of work on the side and I couldn't do all the things at the same time. And it just like, I lost it.
Yeah.
So fast forward a little bit, I never really got to go back to it, which kind of sucked. And I tried bodybuilding because I needed something to do. And I had
Yeah, because
been
it's just something you pick up on the weekends for fun.
well, hear me out. Okay, so the
She wants
person
to
that I was
pump you
dating-
up. Sorry, I had to.
Oh yeah, I got some Arnold lessons. It was nuts. But I had been dating someone at the time who was a bodybuilder, and both of his parents had done bodybuilding. So I was like,
Okay.
you know what? Fuck it. We'll give it a try. Turned out to not quite be as like engaging as my brain needed. A lot of energy, and I get bored pretty easy. And if
Yeah.
I'm not flying through the air, I'm over. Well, did it, read, probably won't do it again. Who knows? I don't know. But then I wanted to try something else, got sponsored to learn how to skateboard. Was like, "You guys, I can't figure this out. Like, I don't have the attention span for it. Like, I can cruise, I can longboard." But then I was like, you know what? I can ride a bike. Like, I'm going to BMX race. And that was it. It was totally not really like, it was like inspired by the fact that I was just bored and I needed something gnarly to try to just do that I could be crazy with, but learn pretty quick and also would hook me fast enough where I could be involved in something. So
Yeah.
racing was like the best option because motocross would have been too expensive. I would have loved to do motocross.
Yeah.
I didn't really have the means to go do that. So pick up a pedal bike. I'm my own fuel. And that was kind of it. I got to my first race and couldn't read the moto boards and instantly made friends because, like one girl can't read the moto board. Someone's going to ask me what's going on.
Yeah.
And I made the right friends and they kind of carried me through everything else. And it's been a wild ride since then.
That's pretty cool. I mean,
Totally long, short story, but
Well, I imagine though a lot of the background in cheerleading and gymnastics really like transitions well though into the BMX world because there's so much body control required and a lot of core strength. And when you're zipping down some of those tracks and now you're airborne, I would crash just because I don't have the core strength. But I imagine a lot of that just transitions so naturally to BMX.
yeah, well, it's a couple of things transferred over for me. I'm not afraid to fall. I know it's going to happen. We kind of call it when the Reaper checks in on you and they're like,
Yeah.
you can still eat it. And then you fall.
I've seen some of the videos and I'm like, holy shit, just, balls of steel just flying through the air. Like, this is insane.
Well, I love it. And I've got a lot to catch up on. I started really,
Yeah.
like everyone else kind of had all their practice and their like get the scaries out of the way time. And I didn't. So I'm kind of just like, all right, this is what it is. Like, let's go.
That's cool though.
Yeah, but a lot of like the cheerleading and gymnastics transferred over, but also a lot of my bad habits for when I'm learning certain things. And I've noticed that and I'm like, I can't, and I was funny. It's like, I think my mom was watching me mess around with something one day. She's like, you do exactly what you used to do when you'd pull this trick. And I'm like, I know. I know.
Leave it to mom to call you out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like, so really, and this is like motorcycling, sometimes even driving, like if you are headed towards something and you don't want to hit the something, the stronger you look at that something, you're gonna hit it because you're hyper focused on it, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, for example, when you're learning to spin with BMX, your head needs to go where your body wants to go. So, if
Hmm.
your head doesn't go, but you try to pull your body, your rotation is off. And that was exactly what I was doing when I was trying to learn. It's
Oh.
called a full. I don't know if you guys know anything about gymnastics or cheerleading, but
No.
so it's a twist with a backflip. So it's like a 360 back.
Okay.
So same thing. If everything doesn't rotate at the same time, you land on your head.
I mean, it makes total sense. It's still a mystery to me how that all works, but that's
It's confusing, but like you pick it up, and muscle memory kind of takes over
oh yeah.
after landing on your face.
I imagine the ability to fall transitions pretty well too, though. I mean, like,
Yeah.
if you don't know how to actually fall, and I know that sounds dumb, but if you don't know how to fall, you're gonna get hurt a lot more often when you're biting it, as opposed to if you know how
Yep.
to fall, which you can't be a gymnast or a cheerleader and not know how to fall.
Oh yeah, no. There's so in bikes, like I had wished I picked it up pretty easy because of having that background. I'm still learning. There are some times where I just straight up body the ground because I didn't know how to recover from certain things. And I actually have a perfect clip that I could show you that you'd be like, what were you doing? Anyways, it's rough. But no, like I wish there was a better way to teach the art of bailing because it is such an art. And even like, do you guys ride clip in ever?
Yeah. Every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even learning how to get out of and I have never ridden clips, but I know for a fact you have to do a certain movement to get out quick.
Yep.
Like even learning how to get your feet out of clips
Mhm.
to be able to like tuck and roll or dive, whatever you have to
Yeah.
do. That's an art and nobody says that. They just kind of like, here, try this trick. But like,
When and you have to fall a couple times with your shoes or with your feet clipped in before you're like, "Oh, yeah,
oh,
I'm still waiting for mine to happen because it's like a joke amongst it. I mean,
roadies."
I think everybody, yeah, roadies and mountain bikers, the 0 mile per hour crash whenever you're like, oh shit, I can't get out of my clips, and you just fall over.
and
Um,
and you're like, oh, this is not going to be okay.
and it hasn't happened to me yet. And now that I did that to my collarbone, I'm
That
like,
just means yours is gonna be epic.
it's gonna be spectacular. Yeah, like our one buddy did it, and didn't Steve break his elbow or something?
He did. You don't even remember being on the ride with us, but yeah.
I was
It's
on
the
the
first
ride. Yeah.
time it was the first time we rode with Andrew, because he had bought a set of cranks off of a mutual friend, and this guy organized, like, a small group ride in, like, February or something, and our buddy Steve at this parking lot, we were coming up to the end of the parking lot and, like, couldn't get clipped out, and just 0 mile per hour just toppled over and
Like a
broke his
cartoon
elbow.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? So it was like a slow motion that
Oh,
time?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't even do anything about it. I was like, "Way to go." That's
Similar to how mine went. I was trying to cross the road, and wasn't moving anymore, but my foot wasn't coming out of the pedal, and I just toppled over sideways.
Oh my I don't know what's worse, like high speed OTB or slow motion tank. Ooh.
I
uh,
think the slow motion one's more embarrassing, but I think the
yeah, the
full gas
slow-mo
one's the
takes
one that's gonna hurt a little bit more,
yeah, the full gas does hurt, but
as is evidenced by your two-piece collarbone.
yep, yep, uh, but how much does pride factor into that? You know, that's like
Well, it's like I think Josh can appreciate this, like, yeah, like, there's that thrill, though, of, like, doing something that, like, you're like, "Yeah, maybe I can't do this," and, like, your ego doesn't get hurt when you're, like, on that edge, but when you're going 0 miles per hour and you tumble, you're like, "God, maybe I need to choose a different sport. This one's just not for me."
Oh, funny you should say that because I have a torn ACL and meniscus, which I'm pretty positive about. I haven't gotten it fully, like, diagnosed yet, but I know what it feels like, and it is not happy. But anyways, because I
yeah,
was trying to turn around and face my friends on the other side of the skate park, and slow motion tried to roll up a bank, turn around, wheels never left the ground, and I just, like, and you're off guard because I don't need to be on guard, I'm just rolling.
yeah.
Turned my bars the wrong way, foot went down, and just, like, all the things they said it feels like, which is
Oh, that's always like and that's how it happens too. It's always the stupid things, like the mundane, like, I've been doing this for forever, and all of a sudden it's like, "Yep, you done fucked up."
Very
You
yeah,
done messed up, Ron.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
I'm pretty sure when my friend said that to me, I'm like, I have to hop the fence now. Can we not joke? Like, I can't even get out of the skate park. But oh no, gnarly, so bad. It sucked so bad, but it is what it is. Pay to play, like I said.
Yeah. So I guess like with your background, obviously, did you have like pretty good bike handling to start?
I mean,
Because
yes and no. Like, I think anybody starting off on a smaller bike like that, you're gonna feel the difference. Like, obviously, I had really only ridden like a little hybrid guy, like mountain
yeah,
bike road bike thing. And going to a smaller bike with a totally different geometry was like a little difficult. And now you're riding up things that you wouldn't necessarily have to ride up. And I wouldn't say like I watch people who are learning on their bikes, and I watch people go down rollers, which there's no lip, it's just a curve, right? And I watch them go down rollers and they're terrified,
yeah,
but
That would totally be me.
they well I found it was the opposite for me. Like, I had a harder time getting up, like, making sure I
hmm.
had enough speed to get up certain things.
That could be a
Um,
little hard to judge, I'd imagine.
yeah, because, like, you don't know how hard you're supposed to haul at this, like, little lip, and, like, getting even if it's just a box jump, like, I remember there was my a couple of my friends were standing at the top of the box jump, and this was a Connecticut park. I wanna say this was Clinton, Connecticut, actually. Um and I was, like, hauling at this lip, and they would catch me every time I get to the top because I was scared that I wasn't gonna make it up enough.
Yeah,
And, like, when you're learning, like, going backwards down something like that, if you have to fall, like, you don't know how to bail yet, like I said,
Right.
so it wasn't always consistent. But, yeah, I mean, some of it transferred over. I picked it up pretty quick because I was always rotting and trying, but
yeah,
it's definitely a learning process for sure.
that's cool. So how do you transition from like the basics to, in your case, doing a 360 open loop? Like, I saw that video and I was like, okay, this is instantly getting added to the question list because that's insane. I can't even imagine. Like, I saw you bail all those times, and I was like, one, that's just I can't even compute that. But like, how do you even go from like I don't even know how to phrase the question, but what's the process for like starting with the basics and going to? I would imagine that's pretty much top ended. I mean, I'm sure there's more. I mean, I've seen like Tony Hawk and those guys and Tony Hawk skateboard. Actually, I'm an idiot.
No, no, we do some of the same stuff, like, he
Okay,
rides vert, and, like, if Matt Hoffman rides vert and
yeah.
he goes up just as high as they're buddies,
Is Dave
like,
Mira still a thing? Is he?
he's actually not around anymore, we lost
Oh,
him, but
my
he
bad.
was one of the no, it's okay, how would you know?
Yeah.
But, I wasn't around for this when this happened, but I know a lot of people who knew him and said he was, like, the GOAT, like, he was the man.
Okay.
Um, but no, he's same, like, realm of, like, those superhuman BMX riders or, like, the Tony Hawks of bikes, basically.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so that weekend was kind of I like to call it a fuck it weekend. That's Swamp Fest, that's, like, my all-time favorite jam.
Okay. Where's
Swamp
that?
Fest Swamp Fest,
Yeah. Where is that?
so that's in Florida.
Okay. Go figure.
That year was I'm gonna say this wrong. I know, right? Go figure. Florida man. But, oh, yeah, that place is crawling with Florida mans.
Oh, I'd imagine. Yeah.
Actually, if you find the most recent Swamp Fest clips, that was in Wildwood, Florida. The first and second year were in, I'm gonna say this wrong, Astatula? I don't know. It's Central Florida. Um,
Ashtabula, I think.
I don't know how to
I don't.
say it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's yeah.
But, yeah, there if you find the most recent clips, there's this one dude that they refer to as Florida Truck Stop because he's in everything. Pretty sure he didn't even bring a bike. I think he tried to leave with someone else's bike. And the dude
So he
there to
did steal a kid's bike.
he almost got, like, the shit kicked out of him by a pro. But
Oh
anyway,
man.
because it was, like, a pro's bike that he was trying to take. Anyway, dude's in, like, a wife beater, pretty sure, like, someone drew on him at one point, and he's got, like, an American flag bandana, and he's just, like, in the middle of
Yes.
everything, just everything. So, anyways,
Oh,
going back to the other
oh, I
story.
found him. This is
You found
spectacular.
it?
Oh yeah,
Oh, hell yeah, that was quick.
this is
Yeah,
spectacular.
watch those clips. He's just, like, the one that I eat complete shit on over the long jump. He's like the one thing I was like, listen, I don't know if I want to do this because the first person who's going to be there to my rescue is Florida Truck Stop. And sure enough, what you do in Florida are just like, hello, how can I help you? I'm like, I'm good. It's okay. Thank you. I'm all right. Don't worry. Like, it's all good. Just don't touch me. But anyway,
That's awesome.
yeah, wild time. Like the whole thing is like that. It's an experience. Everything gets set on fire at the end of the night. There's alligators on occasion. There's just like it's just it is Florida to a T plus BMX, like old school BMX. So
Yeah.
I like to call those the fuck it weekends. And in particular, the loop weekend that I did was a major fuck it weekend because I was also like mentally dealing with some things that I just was like, you know what, I need to like physically throw myself off something right now, and this is not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people where like I kind of need I need something very strenuous and tiring to make sure I still have a pulse check.
I
So
understand that. Yeah.
yeah, and I feel like all bikers have that exact same like I'm just gonna go hammer out whatever this is because I need it. My brain, my body, I need it, and
Yeah.
I won't be satisfied until I get it.
It's exactly what it
So
is. Yeah.
that's what happened that weekend, and I had only really been riding for like 2 years when I did it.
Damn.
So yeah, well, a lot of it transferred over from not being afraid to land on my head because of cheerleading. A lot of it transferred over from learning how to bail. The other thing that's kind of funny is that I still don't really have a lot of the basics because I don't have the attention span to learn them, and I get yelled at constantly by everyone. So the thing with that loop is that all you really have to do is commit, and that was like the perfect storm for something scary that I just needed to turn the brain switch off and commit.
Yeah.
And if you hit the right spot on the ramp, it puts you where you need to go.
Okay.
It's just that it was like apparently scary, but like I said, I was like tunnel vision. And the funny thing about that weekend was that I had full intentions of going and trying those dirt jumps that were there. And then I got there. And are you familiar with mountain biking drops?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so like you have the cliff and then the landings here.
Yeah.
So the dirt jumps were set up with a storage unit, like a a shipping container.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had to ride off the shipping container and drop into a dirt
Oh, damn.
a dirt
Okay.
landing. I didn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
That's what, like 9.5 feet or something up. Or 8. I think
It
shipping containers
depends.
about 8 usually.
And well, the landings built up a tiny bit.
Okay.
It was not straight to ground. It's like I probably could have done it if I tried, but my
Yeah.
brain was like, yeah, no, I don't know. It's fine, I can't do it.
Standing up there like, nah, I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah, and and my friends know me. I've like set up this routine that I apparently didn't know I did until they pointed it out, where they watch me go and like they call it a pro walk, right? Where you go like scope out the thing you're gonna go die on.
Yeah.
And they watched me like walk over, like measure the jump with my eyes, go stand at the top of the storage unit, look down a couple times, like just like size it up. And I get down and I've got 4 people there immediately like, you're gonna do it. And I'm like, don't call me out yet. I don't know. I don't know. And they're like, yeah, but we know what you're doing. Like we watch this all the time. We know how you work. And I'm like, I don't know. I honestly, I probably turned into a complete total girl that day because I was kind of moody that I was like, I'm not gonna be able to ride this. This is the one thing that I wanted to ride. Dang it, I'm not progressing here. Like I went into full girl mode. And moody.
Yeah.
And then I ended up riding like a little like sand dirt bump that they made for the kids that got destroyed within like an hour. And you know what the worst thing was? I gave myself the worst shinner to where it got infected and I had
Ooh.
like a hole in my leg like this long of just like
Oh.
because I ride metal pedals.
Yeah.
So excuse my language. I was like, fuck this. This is ridiculous. I can't ride the big jumps. I wanted to ride the big jumps. I'm over here getting shitters on the sand bumps. Like, and I was like, this sucks. I'm gonna go pout somewhere else. So I don't know who I went to go talk to. And I think at that point I was like heckling pros. I didn't know who they were, but I was in rare form. This is the story of my life. But I I had a couple people who were like, "Hey, you should try this loop," and I was like, when I first got there, I was like, I don't know, that seems a bit much. And then like after the night went on, I was like, well, nothing else I'm riding here, so set me up, let's do it. So
That's
I ended up going after it and keep like continuously trying. The second time I knocked the wind out of myself and I was like,
Which is like one of the worst feelings in the entire world.
even worse.
You're like, this is it. This is how I die. Like, I'm not getting up from here.
Well, the only reason I knew what was going on was I tried to laugh because I realized like I had like very short shorts on. I just ride in whatever I feel like riding in.
Yeah.
But I had real short shorts on and
And
I'm
it's
laughing.
Florida, so it's about 9,000 degrees and about 8,000% humidity. So
Yeah, and I'm probably the one wearing the most clothes at this point, but there's that. Anyways, I'm like laying on the ground, I'm laughing because I'm like yanking my shorts down. I'm like, everyone's gonna see my lady junk. Like, oh dear. And I start laughing, and then I'm like choking, and I'm like, I can't breathe. And it's just a hot mess. But anyway, I like took a break because I was like, I don't know, let me think about this some more. Let me stare at it again. And then I don't know, some sort of fire like blew up in me, and I was like, I don't care, I'm getting this. This is happening.
yeah.
Like little by little, like crowd keeps building, and I get more and more hyped, and then I have like tunnel vision, like demon eyes, and it just kept going at it. Like I needed it. It was my body and my brain needed it, and I kind of couldn't really stop until I got it.
No, I do definitely understand that. I mean, like, and I think, like you said, all cyclists kind of have that where you get this drive, and you're like, whether it's a century ride or like, whatever it is, mountain biking. I don't quite know. I'm just
Mm,
slowly getting into that. But like, there's always this one thing that you're like, it's hard, but
mhm.
damn, I'm gonna do it. And
I need it.
yeah, and I need to do this. Like I know, um, like between like Nick and I and our group that we ride with, we keep on saying we're gonna plan a century and like we're gonna do it. And
Oh yeah.
every year that goes by, I get more pissed that like we haven't done it yet. Hear that, Chris?
The
But
mayor just got called out.
he did, yeah. I mean, but it's like one of those things. Like I want to do that just to be like I did it. So
Yeah,
it's
no, I feel that. It's legit. Like I think we all have this addictive personality, whether it be like, whatever discipline of cycling we do, where we feel better if we accomplish things.
hell
Well,
yeah.
I think there's like a level of masochism to it as well.
Oh yeah.
For BMX riders, it's like that paying the reaper with the falls. Where with us, it's like no, we just like to suffer for like long periods of time in the saddle. And
Yeah, but you feel like you're living. Like, you think about it. I don't know. I think about it all the time. I'm like, God, I feel bad for my friends who like come home every day and they literally just sit on the couch and they do nothing and like that's their life. And like,
Yeah.
you know, they don't think they can do something else.
yeah,
Meanwhile, we need it.
yeah.
Like we don't do well without it.
What
And
was
if we
like,
go too long, we're struggling.
yeah. Well, it's like I mean, today I snuck out for like a 20-mile ride just because I needed to get out of the house. I didn't care that it was 25 degrees outside. I just went out and did it.
Yeah, you get an extra pair of gloves and you go.
Yeah. Sometimes Nick will be like, dude, you need to go for a ride. I'm like, why? And he's like,
You're grumpy.
you're extra
Yeah,
grumpy.
I'm like you are moody, dude. You need to go out for a ride, not Zwift.
Yeah.
I feel that.
He's true. Like, I'm just gonna apologize in advance, Nick. Because I
Dude, I
got
know what's
3
coming.
weeks. It's gonna be
Trust me,
fucking
I know
hell.
what's coming. I might block you for like a week or two on the phone, so I don't have to deal with you.
Right? Hey, I totally understand. I'd block myself at this point. Like, I know
Oh,
the storm is coming, and it's gonna be freaking
We'll
hilarious.
just have a group chat with Joce so that she could cheer everybody up.
I got you. That seasonal depression is real, man.
Oh
No
yeah.
good.
Well, no,
Oh,
it's I got the
It'll be that
surgery coming up.
he won't be able to ride for like 3 or 4 weeks because
well,
of
And
the surgery.
actually, by the time this airs, I'll actually have already had the surgery. But my
Yeah.
bikes are leaving my house and going to my buddy's place because I don't trust myself. So,
oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's
I
cool.
should give you the TT bike because I know you won't ride that because you won't be able to get in that position for a
Dude,
while.
I that has been the one thing that I have missed the most. Like, there's road biking, but like
She's right there. She's right there.
I hate you so much. And the worst part is I'm recording video too, so like this is probably going to be one of the first video podcasts that we've done.
That's okay.
But like that's like the one thing that like I miss, and I just think about getting into that position right now, and I'm like, I immediately, what did I say the one time? Oh, like cry like a kid that dropped his lollipop. Like,
Oh,
that's
I'm
just
so
like, you're
sorry.
not crying for any reason other than it's not that the shoulder hurts. It's that it
My
does.
heart hurts.
Yeah, it's like my heart hurts. Exactly. It's just,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
But
feel you.
yeah, I mean, that's, I don't know what it is. But yeah, all cyclists have that kind of like innate drive. And then eventually, if once we do that too much, we do burn out. And then we take a few days off and we're back in it, whatever.
Although those few days off, you're like, damn it, why am I sitting here?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not going to say the word because then someone would have to take a drink, but they are
Is it
necessary.
is it a drinking game if I say rest days?
I don't know.
I don't know. We're gonna have
No,
to we're gonna have to
I think
get
it's
the
if we
final
say
word from our
hockey.
list. Well, I know I'm not gonna say the H word.
Check the rules.
Yeah.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, there's a good chance that I'll have to have surgery too because I don't trust my landing gear if it's not fixed. So
Yeah, that's fair.
we'll have a chat going, no worries.
All right. All right.
We'll bring the sunshine even though we'll feel like we're dying. It's fine.
I like that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, since we're on the topic, BMX certainly lends itself to having some gnarly injuries, and you do have a broken collarbone. But other injuries have you experienced? I guess is a good way to put it. While you're in the BMX world,
Because I've
Well,
heard that the collarbone is actually a rite of passage for
for
a
any
lot of
cyclist,
cycling.
yeah.
Yeah. So
it was just a matter of time.
that means
Yeah.
you're in it for reals this time.
Yep. No, that's true. That's true. That's what everyone tells me. They're like, "Yo, welcome to the club," and I'm like, "I hate this club. It's sick."
Did you get your
I-
jacket yet, though?
No,
Well,
I'm so
whenever
waiting.
that's the funny part. You get a jacket, but you can't put it on for like the first couple weeks. It's like,
Yeah.
Lex, after we interviewed Lex, literally like a week after she broke her collarbone, as you saw at Sea
So
Otter. And
Ugh.
I sent her a message and I was like, "Hey, welcome to the club." And she responded with like, "This is the worst club ever." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. We don't like jackets and we're big fans of capes, so get used to it."
Yep. So my injuries, I have a lefty from cheerleading that still hangs around that I tore my ACL meniscus and got that fixed. So that I irritate on the regular.
Okay.
But that's besides the point. I have a lot of injuries. I broke both ankles cheerleading, had no clue. I just kept going.
Oh, damn.
Um, I have a very weird pain tolerance, also because I'm petrified of doctors. So I don't like to go, so I just don't sometimes, which is not always a good thing.
I sympathize with that.
Yeah, I'd rather
Empathize,
hurt
sympathize.
myself.
Words are hard. Anyhow.
I got
Sorry.
you. No,
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I have like a gnarly history of just like getting hurt and not knowing. But anyways, I have a collarbone that is I guess you just say it never like fused back together. So technically a floating collarbone.
Okay.
That was probably like a year and a half ago, maybe more at this point.
That's real cool, Kids Club.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
real cool. I did that at a jam. I got way too hyped up. I tried something that was just a bit out of my level of what I could do
Yeah.
because why not? I'm at a gym. I have all my friends there screaming at me. And I made it a couple times, but then the final time I like just ate it completely, rolled, crunched the thing.
Oh,
Setup was like, I don't know, this is kind of weird. Feels strange. Like I had full mobility, but I was like,
Yeah.
I'm ready to fill up. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I was like, everything is like we're good, but like I'm green and I don't feel good. And I thought it was because it was like 102 degrees that day in Connecticut. And I'm like, I can't be broken. I don't have health insurance yet. Like I can't be broken. This is not okay. Like, how am I supposed to ride? Like, this is my life. And I'm like going through my line of like
Yeah.
my roll of all the things I say when I think I'm hurt. And I'm like, my friends are like, just stop, right? And I have a nurse friend and my boyfriend rides too. So
Okay.
his house BMXers here, but yeah, he knew that it was broken. My nurse friend knew that it was broken. Everyone else knew it was broken. And I'm in denial.
Totally
So
understand that. Yeah. I'm glad to hear you say that because I've told a few people the story and like I just remember getting up and I'm like, "Oh, I'm fine." And there was I remember the lady at the stop sign in her freaking Tesla just sitting there and she goes, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Like, get out of here with your
She
Tesla.
obviously didn't buy it because she was still there when we got to the intersection.
Yeah, she did not buy it at all because
I knew you were in trouble because you were doubled over when we got there. I was like, this isn't good because I know
And-
your pain tolerance.
And the one guy kept on asking me, he's like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "Yeah." Yeah.
Well,
And
at least Seth wasn't there to pat you on the shoulder like he was when you got
oh
hit
my
by the
god, dude.
truck.
Yeah.
Or
Got
Um,
hit by a truck?
he
yeah, I
got hit
did.
by he got hit by a truck and probably stress fractured the same collarbone 2 months earlier.
So you previously, like, injured.
And I
You
had
know, it
no
was like the
idea. Yeah.
pickle jar. He had someone pre-loosen it for him.
Yeah.
You okay. I
But we were hanging out the one day, and our buddy, he's what, 6'5", 6'6", like he's a big dude.
8'6". He's basically Andre the Giant.
Yeah, he really is. But he keeps patting Andrew on the shoulder, not even realizing he's doing it. And this kid's like super sarcastic. So we thought he was messing with Andrew, and he totally was not messing with Andrew. He forgot that his shoulder was messed up.
Oh, that's the worst.
But
Oh
yeah,
god.
like I'm standing in the middle of the road and I'm walking around and the one guy's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I walk away from the group and I'm like pushing on it and I'm like, "Oh crap." That
Yeah.
moves. And then I'm stretching and I still have full mobility.
Well, you're a swimmer, though. So, like, you have
Yeah.
more than normal mobility to
It's
begin with.
actually a problem now, but
Yeah.
and then I walk away from the group and Nick comes up to me and he goes, "Are you all right, dude?" And I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
And he turns around and he's like immediately dialing somebody and I was like, "Okay, at least the message got through. Something ain't right
Yeah.
here. I'm not sure what it is. I've never
Yep.
broken a bone." But yeah, it's like one of those feelings like, "Huh, is this what it feels like? Is this what the real adrenaline feels like whenever you're like the fight or
Yep.
flight type situation?" But yeah,
Yeah.
sorry to hijack your question, but
No,
that's
no, that's okay. It's so funny too to me, like, when people watch us get hurt that aren't riders of any form,
the unanimous.
I'm, like,
Oh,
appalled. They're like, "You just," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay. It's all good. Like, just
yeah.
let me assess the damage. I don't need you asking me questions. You don't understand this." Like, it happens all the time too. Or I'm sure, like, when you tell people who you're friends with that, like, aren't riders and they're like, "You did what?" And you're like, "Yeah, that was nothing. What about this?"
You actually got lucky with the road rash.
I don't know how,
Yeah,
but yeah.
your road rash really wasn't bad.
I mean, I did have to toss the jersey because the blood did
Yeah.
not come out.
Yeah, but wasn't it a $20 jersey?
Hey man, they don't come easy. It's $20. That's
Listen,
easily
if
15 minutes of billables at my 9 to 5.
I'm just saying it could have been worse. It could have been one of your new Neo Pros coming in.
Yeah, that's true.
And running a new one, and then you, like, email them, and they're like, "Yeah, sick. Welcome to the club. We all did it. We're not
Yeah,
refunding."
yeah.
Okay.
Have you ever had the concussion part of it? I'd imagine from cheerleading.
Undiagnosed, probably.
To be honest, like, I don't think I've had a I mean, knock on wood. I don't think I'm sorry. No, it's okay. It's okay. I have 2 Mini Aussies, and they're just like, "What? Let me at 'em." Yeah, I don't think I've had a concussion. I'm hoping that doesn't happen, not that I can remember at
I
least.
do not wish that upon anybody. I walked into the ER because Nick's wife actually drove me to the ER, and
Yeah, my wife's a nurse, and she was the second person I called only because where he crashed, a good friend of mine lives 1,500 feet from that intersection,
yeah,
and he didn't pick up. And he's a cyclist too, so I knew he would have
Yeah.
come and given the obligatory ride. So my
But
wife shows up, and that was one of the first things she asked you too was, "Did you hit your head?" And you were
and
like,
I
"No."
was like, "No, no." And I go to the ER, and they're like, "Did you hit your head?" And I was like, "No, no."
And then he
And I
got home and then looked at his helmet the next day, and it was like in 4 pieces.
dude, it was like 3 AM. I can't sleep. The shit hurts. And I break out the helmet because I'm like, "How's the bike?" Because
Yeah,
naturally, you're all messed up, but you're like, "How's my bike? Is it okay?
yeah.
Is it gonna make it?" But I look at the helmet and I'm like, "Oh, that's a crack.
I think I hit my
Wait, there's
head.
another crack there.
That
Why is
wasn't there before.
Wait a minute. Why is this cracked in 4 places?" And the whole thing, this is the orange helmet right there is the
Yeah.
aforementioned one.
Okay.
But it's like, yeah, like you can be concussed. And the only reason I knew is because the next day I was like, I need to do something if I can't bike. So I
Yeah.
went for a walk and I drove down to the trail and I saw the stop sign. I knew it was a stop sign. I knew exactly what to do at the stop sign, but I just went right through it. Didn't even
Okay.
care. And I pulled over and I called my buddy and I was like, "Have you ever had a concussion before?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "What was it?" And he's like, "Have you ever been inexplicably stupid?" And I'm like, "Have you ever talked to me?"
That's a pretty low threshold for you.
Yeah. He's like, "Literally, the thing that you've been doing the longest, you just can't even process it. And you just have this fog and it's just weird." But
Ooh.
yeah, if you ever get a concussion, I wish you best of luck.
Probably have, but I just don't remember. Or don't know. I don't know.
I'm sure that wasn't intended to be funny, but it was.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think I've ever had a concussion. At least not that I remember.
I forgot about it.
No, like, I mean, I know they're no joke because I was a cheerleading coach and, like, we had to go through some, like, extensive training
Oh,
to
yeah.
learn how if kids had concussions and all that
Mhm.
stuff, but I guess I need to take better care of myself.
As long as you wear the bean cover, I think you're good.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure, always. Actually, I switched over to so ProTech makes 2 different types of helmets, and right
Okay.
now I have a ProTech. And one is a certified and one is a not certified. One is essentially foam. Actually, let me go get it.
The mark of a true cyclist, having your stuff right at the door, ready to go.
Yeah. I don't know where my other helmet is, but anyway, this is a not certified helmet, right? And
Okay.
it's essentially just like there's nothing there. It's like a shell
Yeah.
Yeah,
with just some foam.
probably
But
super comfy though.
oh, wicked comfy. Fits so nice.
Yeah.
And it's nice when it's like cold because the wind doesn't go through the ears. But anyways, the other helmet has like foam and then like hard foam.
Yeah, it's like a dual density.
Yeah, and I rung my bell real hard one day wearing this thing.
Oh.
I just like straight to the back of my head, like when you backside accidentally snowboarding, and I was like, I need a different helmet. Like, it was okay, but like I was like, oh, okay. Well, anyway. But so now I have 2 different helmets now that are the same type, but just like
Okay.
better.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I've had quite a few like incidents where I definitely didn't know if something was like broken or whatever, and I kind of just wrote it out. Like I remember, let's see, my collarbone was rough, and then after that day, all right. So here, let me ask you,
Yeah.
how was the ride in the car with the way the seat is? So awful, right?
Yeah.
Like the worst feeling ever.
At least it was your left arm though. Like
Yeah,
it
it
would have been way
wasn't
worse
the
if it was the right being in the
well,
passenger side.
yeah, and Trish kept on asking me, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, just keep on driving." And she's
Yeah.
like, "The way you're answering that sounds like you're not okay." And I was like, "I'm fine. I'm not gonna pass out, but I'm pretty close." Like
But I
this.
might throw up, so keep going.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, "Your car looks clean. I don't want to ruin it."
Yeah, thank you for not throwing up in my car.
No problem. Do what I can. Yeah. My gift to you, Nick.
Dude, that ride was gnarly, like, and it was so
It is the
we were
worst. Yeah.
we were going back to Long Island, so it was like 2 hours at least, and I'm just
Oh.
sitting there, and I'm covered in road rash, but I have dirt in it still, so I'm like,
Oh man.
I'm
Oh.
sitting there, I'm stuck to the seat, I'm like this, like I can't quite get comfortable. I remember like I was the whiniest girl the entire time, and my boyfriend is just like, I know, I've been there, I know, I've been there. You're gonna be okay. I know, I've been there, and I'm like, at that point, I still didn't know it was broken, so I worked for a week um, for my promo company. I worked for Monster on occasion,
Okay.
and at the time, and I was lifting cases at NASCAR.
Oh.
I would have to go into the
How?
cooler, lift the case out, throw it over. I just didn't think about it. And the reason I knew something was up was I was like, all right, well, this is like a weird, like dull ache, and it just kind of
Yeah.
kept like a dull headache. And I was like, but in my shoulder, and I'm like, all right, whatever. And then I like got up the next morning, go to get ready and like shower and everything. And the bathroom's like super white and there's like bright lights. And I'm looking and I have a green line here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all this is just green. And I'm like, that's something's
I'm
wrong.
turning colors I've never seen before.
Yeah. So at that point, I like waited a little bit, and my boyfriend's like, I want to know what's going on. So we're bringing you. And I'm like, no, I don't want to know. It was so funny. I go in there, they like, I walk in all chipper. I'm like, yeah, something's going on with my shoulder. It feels weird. They take x-rays and they're like, how are you moving? Dude, immobilized. Like, I'm
Oh,
like,
they get so angry so quick, and you're like, "It's fine. It's totally fine."
yeah. They're like, why are you moving? How are you moving? What are you even thinking? I'm like, I had work. I didn't know. I'm okay. Like, what do you want? And it was, yeah, a hot mess for me. But then, yeah, that took a while to heal. And then I landed on my heel extremely hard
Ooh.
riding in the winter. So, like, it's like insult to injury.
Yeah.
and I swear I either bone bruised my heel or like broke part of my heel.
Oh, and that's the
'Cause it was
worst.
like I couldn't like I had to tiptoe on that foot for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I was gonna say every step you take with that foot, you're like, ow, ow,
Yeah,
ow,
it just
and even tiptoes, you still feel it,
Oh
even though
yeah.
you're not putting pressure on it.
you don't realize how much you need that.
Uh-huh.
That happened, then what else did I do?
Fully
Oh,
understand the
I
heel thing. Yeah.
it's the worst, and it catches you so off guard too. It's like you're never ready for that one. That's a horrible. It's almost like landing on your tailbone. You get that like
Yeah.
I'm gonna puke from like my butt feeling. You're like, okay. But that happened, and then at Rumble in Richmond, I'm pretty sure I broke my ankle, but that was like so worth it.
Oh
Rumble in
damn.
Richmond, old school gym, and they had like it was like a 27-foot gap, and I did not have any business trying it.
That sounds like a pretty far distance.
So much fun. It was so worth it. I almost made it. I tried it 4 times, and the last time was I just put my foot down wrong, and
Oh,
and then my foot turned black within like an hour.
It was like
Yeah.
Mr. Deed's foot.
It was like, yep, sounds like
oh,
yeah.
man.
And then what else have I done? I don't know, like little things. Like I had like a chip missing from my elbow that like you put down wrong and it hurts. Like
Oh.
this is just landing on it.
So clearly
Right.
more injuries than the average roadie, I think.
Well, I mean, depends how hard you ramp when you rode.
That's true. I mean, I did take my road bike on a BMX track once. That was
yeah.
it was actually pretty
How
fun.
gnarly was that?
What's that?
How gnarly was that? I can imagine.
Oh,
It
it
was
was
kinda
fun.
like that scene from, Talladega Nights where where Will Ferrell's like, "I'm going so fast, I'm going so fast." I'm like, "Dude, you're not moving fast at all."
I'll
He's like going over the bunny hops, and it's like,
I'll see
dude.
if I can text this to you.
Oh, amazing. Yes. Honestly, every video that I've ever taken, I'm like, I am hauling the mail. And then I look at it and I'm like, oh, it's so bad. But yeah, I've had quite a few injuries in my ACL that I'm currently working with right now.
Okay.
Got to get it all figured out. And, you know, I've done a lot of stuff that I should have absolutely died on and like walked away. Like, there's actually the wall ride at Ray's.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that because that one in particular is actually it looks pretty not messing around with.
So, are you referring to the one with the shed, or are you talking about the yellow
I think the
wall
pallet one that I saw, or maybe that was not Ray's.
where I fall under the shed?
Yeah. Yeah, that
You'll
one.
have
Yeah,
to
it was that one.
Okay, yeah, so that's in Buffalo. That's our one of our friends' like backyards where he has like a set of trails, and they were too big for me. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna screw around with this shed wall ride, which was not my direction of the way that I like to turn. I
Yeah.
had to learn how to like carve this way. I turned to the other side, and it was a little janky, but that's kind of like street, like
Yeah.
ride being in the street, and you just work with what you got. But yeah, I finally got it, but not clean. But that one was tough. That was hard. But there's an actual, so like it's a curve, like almost straight. Actually, it is straight up and down at Ray's Mountain Bike Park in Cleveland.
Okay.
And I had worked on this wall for like 2 years, and just it's taken me out every time I've tried, because it's big and I can't quite figure it out. I'll have to try to do it again this year if I get there with time before my knee surgery. But yeah, it's gnarly. But like that, I should have absolutely like I stopped because I was tired. Like I couldn't. I just had no energy left. Like,
Yeah.
but that totally should have taken me out and like injured me in some form. I quit looking at a lot, like a lot. I mean, like if you ride hard enough and you eat enough shit, but you don't get hurt, you still wake up the next day like feeling like you got hit by a train.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's worth it. It's like working out too hard.
Yeah, exactly. It's that like
Like a point of pride.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy, I got it. Let's see what this is. Oh, sick. Where is this?
That's in South Park, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, just probably what 10 miles from Wheel Mill.
Okay.
Yeah. That was actually so I've never been on a BMX track before. I always wanted to go as a kid, but I'm pretty sure my mom was smart and was like, "No, you're gonna break
You're
all
gonna
your stuff." Um,
This is sick. Oh, you're cruising.
yeah. Well, I was going so slow, like, and I look at it now, but like I remember in the moment, I felt like I was flying.
Yeah. I remember you saying that. And I was like, dude, you weren't really doing it.
Yeah.
You thought
Yeah,
you sent it, but you didn't.
in your defense, like that setup with your handlebars, like, is not ideal for trying to ride
No,
on
no,
dirt
not
track.
at all.
No,
Can
well,
confirm.
especially with your 25C tires.
Yeah, no, it was full on like road setup. No, those were 28s, but still not.
Oh, that's right. That was the felt
That 3 millimeter is definitely not going to help at all, or centimeter.
millimeter.
Millimeter. Yeah, those are.
Tried.
Yeah, your tire was not that much wider.
No.
You tried. That's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, you know what? Screw it.
They broke out.
This is fun. I always wanted to do this. It was just Nick and
It was
I.
cold that day. It was like 30 degrees or 25 degrees, and we were just out there just.
That's cool.
But it
because
was
we were just-
sunny.
Yeah,
so
it was
like, it's like that. All right, like I'm cool with this. Yeah,
it was just one of those days that we had to get out, and we're like, we had no destination in mind. We're like, let's just go up this hill. All right, let's go up that hill, and then we got up to the top, and you're like, I kind
Yes.
of want to do it. Nobody's here, and I
Yes.
was like, all right, let's do it.
That-
I got the
track-
camera. You got the you got the bike. Just go.
Yeah, hell yeah. Why not? Is that a track where they like don't care who rides it as long as it's not like a practice day?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
That's
I think
sick.
so. I don't actually know the rules there. I just know
I
it's
don't know
middle of
either.
winter, so-
Normally, like in the summer, it's packed, and
Yeah.
I know they had some sort of big thing like right before the Olympics this year there, because one of the guys that was like an alternate for the Olympic team broke his collarbone at the track.
Wait, I heard about that.
Yeah, because my wife works at the hospital that they took him to, and like his manager was like mad that the surgeon was not going to do surgery, and he's like, I wouldn't do surgery normally. Like, why? I'm not going to make an exception because he shouldn't have been racing when he's an alternate for the Olympic team.
Yeah, but not only that, if you have surgery and you're like blasting out straight to the Olympics after that, like that's even less ideal.
Yeah,
Just ride with it broken then,
right.
and then get it fixed, because otherwise, like you're gonna be it's
The
just
damage
like
is
you're-
already done. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that and like I feel like at that point you're gonna have to get it refixed.
Yep.
Because you're now moving your body in ways that it's not supposed to be moving for a little bit.
yeah,
Yep. Yep.
but yeah.
Dang.
It's a from what I understand, it's a pretty well known track.
Okay. I haven't been I've only really ridden Connecticut and the track out here. I think that's it. I've been New Jersey.
Okay.
There's a track behind the Scotty Kramer's bicycle shop that I got to play on, but not for like a race.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really have an extensive track life.
I mean, that's cool. Like, so I know we kind of touched on helmets a little bit earlier, but is there any gear that like you really nerd out about in BMX? Like,
I
if
feel like I
there's,
should ask that question because I'm the
Well, I
super tech
know.
nerd.
Yeah. I mean, you can if you want. So I'll let you do.
Actually, so there is this one company, and actually Lex introduced me, Senna.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I hadn't heard of them before because I kind of like stay in my own bubble, and I guess it's just me. I'm just riding, I'm just not really paying attention. I'm just riding.
Yeah.
But she introduced me to their helmets that have Bluetooth in them, which was the coolest thing to me because you can be listening to music and also actually hear what's going on behind you.
Yeah.
And not feel like you just have earbuds in, because there's certain times that I'll listen to music and there's certain times I won't. Like, I'm not going to listen to earbuds when I'm being social. You
Yeah.
know, like if I'm riding with my friends, that's like the weirdest, most strange thing to me. Like, you're with your friends, talk to your friends. But like, and
That's a novel concept today.
Yeah.
I know. It's so strong. Like, how come I'm yelling at you, dude? Like, you're next to me and what are you listening? Like, we're all together. We're sessioning. This isn't like I can get it for what you guys do because, you're kind of stretched out. Like, you're kind of like all together, but not next to each other all
Yeah.
the time. Like, it's just different. But like, I'm sitting next to this guy on the roll-in and I'm like, yo, are you going to try this? And he's like, huh? Like, I just have to ask you again because I don't care that much. Like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm in the zone. I'm like,
You
what
should-
zone are you in? There's 4 little kids here and they don't.
You should get a pair of aftershocks.
Yeah.
What are those?
So aftershocks are.
Hold
they're
on,
bo-
I'll get them.
Okay.
Wait, you have aftershocks? So I've been riding with these things for like 2 or 3 years now, and I've actually gone through 2 pairs, but they're
They
bone
sound way more expensive than they are too.
they're bone conductive, so like they sit. I'll take off my headphones. They sit right
Oh.
about here,
Okay.
and like
Oh, well.
and unlike the Senna helmets, because I actually tried a Senna helmet and I like the idea, but I didn't like the fact that other people could hear my music.
Yeah.
So those are nice because your ear canal is still completely open, but the music actually comes to your jawline.
Yeah, it comes through your ear bone.
You're
Okay.
not going to
Okay.
get like really great bass, but
No, I
it's
mean
pretty good.
the sound quality does suffer a little bit, but you can still. I mean, I listen to podcasts when I do like Zone 2 rides on the trails and stuff, and
Yeah. Yeah.
but you can still hear if people are coming behind you or like if on the trail
Usually
if there's a deer or something that like is about to run out at you or
it's
whatever.
like taken out by a deer.
Turkeys
Dang.
are more the
But yeah,
adversary.
the aftershocks would be like perfect for what you're looking for.
Wait a minute, turkeys? You just throttle a turkey by accident? Like what?
You
And then
can.
just
I've seen it happen.
I have throttled a turkey. It's not great.
You've also chased a fox.
I did chase a fox, and that was cool as shit.
That's pretty cool though. Okay.
Like I
Okay.
was doing like 28, and he was just taking off. I was like,
he was losing ground on this fox. And
I
he
was
was
like, this dude found
hammering.
fifth gear. He is gone. Like,
He put the nos down.
yeah, I was like, I am giving this all I have, and I don't know how many watts it is, but it's a lot. And
Yeah, it was
and
before you
he's
got a
just,
power meter.
it's just taking off. And I was like, this is super cool. Like I'm chasing a fox just because I wanted to see it. Like,
And then as soon as I got my camera, like my phone in camera mode, the fox took a hard right and into the woods. I was like, God damn it.
but at
This is-
speed, like at
Yeah,
Mach 4,
like
just
did not lose, just turned on a dime, gone.
it's like
You
that.
need a GoPro.
Yeah,
No,
I
we
mean,
have one now.
yeah, we do.
Oh.
We have two actually.
That's right. We do have
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
But then obviously the other thing that I like absolutely love and I've been getting into more is my GoPro. Like I really don't use a whole lot of crazy tech stuff while I'm riding, but like those things make a huge difference and when you're looking back at trails and your rides and just like scenery and like I think that's the coolest thing when you can capture what you saw while you were riding.
Absolutely,
So
yeah, and then share it with people too, and somehow people watch it. It's weird.
I know, and I actually that was one thing that people said to me. They were like, "Hey, we want to see more of like your riding footage." I'm like, I don't really do all that much, all that like often. Sometimes I'm just cruising. They're like, "Yeah, we know, we want to see it." All right, well, watch me ride this bull. I guess the same carve every single time. But yeah,
If you had
but
like the stereotypical handlebar mount for the GoPro, I would think with BMX riding would be really an interesting view because you're.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's also pretty bumpy, so
That's what I mean. It would be like a weird.
and it's so close to the bike, and like it is. You have to like play with it. I found,
The
and I
chest
actually
is the
learned this
best
from
from what
my
I've
friend.
heard.
Yes, my
Yeah.
friend Ben. What he said was actually you want to make the camera upside down
Yeah.
Mhm.
so that you're not like right side up, but literally upside down, so that you can capture like the wide angle of like your bike, the ground, the trail, and then a little bit of the sky, because it's just like a better view.
I actually saw somebody made a mount for the full face. Like he's a mountain biker, but there's like a cavity on the helmet where the visor kind of comes out, and like somehow they made a mount for POC helmets that kind of shoots up and it mounts right here, so it's
Oh
kind of
dang!
down, but it's still on the head, which is
Yeah.
I've heard the chest mount is a little bit more dynamic in terms of like viewing. But
I've heard that too, but I definitely there's something to say about like watching the footage from like someone's eyes, especially for us, like
yeah,
to watch while they're riding because then we can kind of learn from it too.
yeah, like how you said, like whenever you're doing a turn or something, like you point your head where you're gonna go. I think that
No,
could be kind of cool, like seeing that and being like, oh, cool. All right,
yeah,
this
no,
is how you
I
do a
like it
360. Yeah.
for sure. Once I get there, I'll credit you that idea, but
That's
we'll put out
awesome.
the tutorial. But yeah. But I mean, that is kind of it for like tech stuff that I use.
Nice.
I'd like to get into more, but as it comes to me.
So because we have no idea, what bike are you riding these days, and can you tell us about the setup? Because I have
Yeah.
no idea. I know pegs are a thing, right?
If you ride like park or street, yes, I
Fail.
have pegs.
Okay.
No, you're right. You're right. I have. I just don't have the attention span to learn them right now. And they think that okay, pegs are for like okay. How do I explain this? There's small movements called like jibs, and that's where they're like jumping and twisting and kind of like smacking their peg on something or like carving something with the peg or grinding up a box or railing stuff like that, and the movements can be longer, but a lot of the time they're very like quick, short movements with the pegs. And to be honest, I have a hard time with those because I have a harder time bailing out of that stuff because it's so close to the ground still. I do much better when I have a lot of time, like a lot of air brain time to be like, okay, well, I'm falling. Now I need to fix this. But the smaller stuff is harder for me because you can eat it faster and not be able to recover.
Okay.
There are some riders out there like that are just so there's a reason they're pro, but they're so good at recovering and saving themselves in these like small movements. But that was just never me. So I don't ride pegs for that reason.
Okay.
I would like to pick them up and try again, but when I'm like ready for it. But my bike is a Dutch Bikes frame. It's a custom frame. It was my Christmas present.
Nice.
It's got a little sunflower on like the back. I think it's called the bridge.
Yeah, I saw
Is
saw
that
pictures of that on
the purple
Instagram.
one?
That is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it a lot. My boyfriend made it for me.
Oh.
Or he didn't make it for me. Mike Maloney, DEFCON 4 on Instagram, he made the frame.
Okay.
But my boyfriend gave him all of the purples, the sunflower, the geometry that I needed. And I'm super lucky to have a lot of riders in my life, including like my guy, who know the geometry that made sense for me to start riding because the bike that I had started on was not right for me. That was the Death Gyro bike.
Okay.
Which was actually a Miraco, so Dave Mira.
Yeah.
And it was really not meant to be like actually ridden. It was like one of those promo bikes, like, you know, when you go to the bar and they're like, hey, win this shock top bike. It's a beach cruiser. And like the cranks say like from China,
Oh yeah.
you know, they're on backwards, like you know, that kind of stuff. But like
Yeah.
it was like a bike that you kind of like win and hang up or like give to your kid to ride because it's cool.
Okay.
And I loved it so much, but it was so heavy and so hard to ride and too short for me. It was more of like if a freestyler or like a trick bike person was going to ride it, that's who would ride that. But I raced it because I was like, it's a bike, it's a Monster Energy bike. Like this is sick. Like
Yeah.
put some purple grips on this thing. Like let's go. And I realized very quickly that geometry wasn't right for me after riding my friend's bike, who kind of like was a mentor to me. And that poor bike has been through some shit with me, like multiple cases. Like surprised that bike is still kicking from
Yeah.
me taking it from him. But thankfully he let me try it, so I got a little bit of an idea of what I could ride. Then the bike shop that I was kind of riding for at the time helped me build a Frankenstein bike with closer geometry to what I needed, and then we ended up with this one. So I ride a 20.5 frame, so it's
Okay.
little. So I'm only 5'3",
Okay.
and then it's kind of a mix of other parts. Like, oh, I can't even tell you what's on my bike right now. I would love to go get it, but it's in the garage all the way over there. But like I have kink cranks, you know, I have a bunch of different stuff on it.
Okay.
But it's kind of like a mess of like things that I can't break and my boyfriend trusts. And some of it I got to pick because I enjoyed it. Like my sprocket was a hand-me-down sprocket from my friend.
Okay.
Keep that on there until I realized that I wasn't going very fast with it and then sized up on the sprocket.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had originally, so
I have a
that jump.
53 130 BCD if you want it. I can send it. Put on your BMX bike. It'll be hilarious. Talk about a Franken bike. Oh man.
Right.
Fly, but yeah, actually, after riding that jump in Richmond and realizing like I needed more speed, we sized up after that for Swamp Fest, and like I said, I have a bad knee right now, so that flopped anyways. But I didn't have any intentions of landing that one. But the
Yeah.
sprocket for sure.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, I don't have a gyro. I have a brake cable.
Okay.
That's normal. Let me think of what else. I have metal pedals because I can't keep my feet on plastic pedals.
Yeah.
So I like it rough.
You like putting holes in your shins?
Basically,
Yeah.
like that. Don't take your feet off the pedals. Like
It's motivation right there. Yeah.
yeah. But I'll have to send you a picture with all my bike specs
Yeah,
so that you can
we'll definitely
whole
post it in the link.
list of good stuff. Yeah, for sure. And I'll write it all out for you so you can see it. I might be changing it soon. I think I want a new color scheme. I have some really cool wheels that my boyfriend got me. So
Nice.
they're like with like purple splatters. There's a name for them. I just can't remember what they
Oh,
are.
that's cool.
But yeah, so I'm kind of excited about that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So when you aren't doing like sick tricks or posing with Cheeseballs, so what else do you do? Obviously, to either keep in good riding form or otherwise.
Yeah, I like working out. I
Okay.
mean, I've kind of like fallen out of working out as much as I used to because I can't really do as much as I want to with my knee the way it is,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So I'm like slowly now getting back into getting creative because I'm tired of feeling the way I do because obviously the more I'm working out, the more energy I'm having, the more muscle I'm building, and the better I'm riding,
Yeah.
whether I'm hurt or not. So I love working out. I love anything to do with outside. One of my absolute all-time favorite things is laughing, so just being with good friends and people, like, I just like, if I can spend my entire life laughing, like, that's the dream, so,
That's awesome.
yeah, I like to hang out with my dogs, I ride my motorcycle, my boyfriend's got some cool cars that we get to play in,
Okay.
so that's pretty cool too, an old Datsun that we get to cruise in, so
Oh, sweet.
I like to do all that stuff,
Uh,
hike.
You kind of fall into the subcategory of this question, but BMXing is kind of something that most people associate with younger people starting. Do you see a lot of, you know, not kids starting the way you did, or is it still kind of a predominantly you get into it as a kid and you just kind of stick with it?
It is kind of all over the place now, and I think seeing alright, so actually a lot of women in PA who ride and who started later in life, and I think it's like I said, it's kind of a mix, like, our scene is very mixed as far as, like, there's a lot of little ones, like, starting and riding. Obviously, racing is a lot easier for kids to get into because it's, like, advertised like soccer, it's
yeah.
like a rec, and it's a lot easier for parents to find for their kids. I think it's kind of more so that what I see is people that are like later in life finding trails or skate parks, like that kind of thing versus racing, which racing really helps with your control.
Mhm.
And that's why these kids grow up to be so good because they just find this fearlessness on the track. And then if they find the other side of BMX, then they're fearless on everything else. But I am pleasantly surprised with the amount of people that find it that are, like, at least 25 or older because they don't realize that it's their own, like, pace, you don't have to be throwing yourself off dirt jumps if you don't want to.
Yeah.
You can if you want to, but you don't have to. But there's kind of something for everyone in what we do, like park and I guess trails are a little bit more welcoming because there is such a wide range of people. I like to call us the misfits. Like we're all kind of like a bunch of weird humans doing the same thing, but like with totally different lifestyles. And one of my favorite examples of that is like there's a guy who's been riding like basically his entire life, and the dude is a rocket scientist. Um, yeah, he's the
All
coolest,
right.
and he's jumping the big lines in. Have you guys heard of the Pennsylvania trails?
Nope.
You're, like, totally new.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, hold on. Alright, so there is a 3 trail sets that you have to check out. One is Caddy Woods, and I believe that's in Bethlehem, and one is Posh Woods, and I wish I knew what town that was in. They're both public trails, they're both sponsored, and they're both insured.
Okay.
You have to check them out. They are awesome.
PA
Our
Woods.
trail scene is awesome out there. They throw jams all the time, they throw work parties, they do all sorts of stuff. We will have to get you guys out at the next jam. Yeah, right?
Shit, this is how I'm
We'll
gonna break the right side. I can't wait. Nick, we're
have
buying a
to
BMX bike, dude.
Make sure the plate's out of the left side first.
No, make that break
Yeah, there's
through.
a couple white people who ride there. Mostly, like, I think hardtails are kind of the way to go there, but, suspension's a little difficult because of the angle of the lips,
Mm,
I guess.
I could see
But
that being an issue, yeah.
there are bikes that are loaners there. The only thing that they do ask is that you have brakes and you wear a helmet because obviously it is, something they want to keep around and they put a lot of work in.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised how many people don't have brakes on their BMX bikes because they ride park or street. But anyways,
That sounds scary.
yeah, it is. You commit. You have to commit. But anyways, there is quite a range of people coming in all the time who don't ride. And once they see it, they're like, "Okay, I think I want a bike." And then they start riding. And then they go through the roller section. And then they go over to the gaps. And then they're progressing because it's a place for progression.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. And like Pennsylvania is kind of one of those places that I see this happening a lot. It's a lot harder in places where there's not all that many girls on Long Island that ride freestyle. I think there's uh, honestly, I can really only think of 2.
Okay.
So it's harder to find people like that.
Yeah.
And it is hard to jump into a group of random dudes at the skate park, whether you're a guy or a girl. So the trails world is a lot easier to jump in and it's friendly. So you find a lot of people like later in life, like just trying.
Yeah.
Why not? You know?
I laughed because Nick and I were talking. This is many many episodes ago. We were talking about like some of the fundamental issues of cycling, and obviously it is kind of a male dominated sport. And I was like, I kind of posed the question like, how do you get more women into cycling? And obviously we didn't come up with a good answer because we're two dudes that bike.
Yeah. We're not part of the market.
Yeah, but we immediately went to Eurotrip. Have you ever seen Eurotrip? The
That is
French
one
the
of my
French
favorite
scene, like
movies.
whenever a lady cyclist shows up, it's like all of the guys are like Chica, Chica, and I'm like, that's how that is my perception of a woman going into cycling. Like I
Yeah.
could only imagine what that's like. Just ridiculous, but yeah, that's so
It's the
like
best one.
kudos to you because I think it's cool as shit that you do what you do, but then also you're a lady and you cycle. Like, that to me that's
Thank you.
like more people, more women need to get into the sport. One, because it's a sausage fest, but um, I think bringing that diversity and the different point of view is really going to help things evolve at a quicker rate than it would. So
It is getting better on
okay.
our like BMX wise. It's slow. It's very slow. And like what I could run you through like my whole like things I found so far, but it is getting better.
No, that's good. That's great. I mean, yeah, it's Chico.
Any advice for somebody looking to get in?
Yeah, in general
Yeah.
or just do it. Like who cares who if you have a crew, if you don't have a crew and like I guess now's my time to like promote what I do for work. I work for a cycling app called Down to Ride and it helps riders find rides whether it's group rides or people who are just like riding and looking for other people to ride with. So there's really what we're trying to do is like break down that secret handshake of like you kind of only know how to find the rides if you know who to find and talk to.
Yeah.
um, and I got lucky enough, but I also have a very loud personality of like I kind of just kick the door down and be like, yo, I'm here, what's up, hi, how are you?
Yeah, but
Sometimes
sometimes it's like unfortunately that's what it takes. Like when you're new to whatever, whether it's cycling, whether it's I
yeah.
was obviously a hockey player growing up. Andrew was a swimmer. Like you get like kind of if you have that bigger, yeah, I know, right? If you have that bigger personality, like it's easier for you to get in. So like people that are maybe not as outgoing, like have a harder time finding their crew or finding their way in.
Yeah, yeah, hell yeah. No, it's totally true, but I mean, and also you like, I think there's something to say about like once you are that loud person, like you have to continue to be that loud person because you might turn a lot of people away just by being there.
Yeah.
So you kind of just have to like, if you want this, just go after it. Go, just try. Get a bike, what regardless of what it is, doesn't have to be the most expensive bike out there. Just like get a bike, test it out, see what you like. There's so many different disciplines that you can try, whether it's within BMX or within mountain biking or gravel riding, whether you're just, leisure or training for a race or whatever you choose to do. Like there's so many different things that you can find in puzzle pieces that you might be able to like sneak your way into, like might as well, right? And then that's one thing that we're really excited about with Down to Ride is that like we are trying our hardest to be able to get more women involved by being able to find other women who are riding or, like I've been pretty lucky where I don't really, and I say this lightly because I've gotten in trouble for it, unfortunately. But like I don't need women to ride. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I got I've learned from the guys, so I am almost more comfortable learning with the guys because I don't have that, like I don't know, I don't need the nurturing side per se when I'm riding. It's nice to have in other times in my life, but when I'm riding, I don't want someone to be like, "Oh, don't do it if you don't want to." I want to hear like, "Get the fuck up and try again. Come on, you almost had it." You know, I have that side of it because it motivates me
Yeah.
harder, but not everybody needs that.
Yeah.
And it's important to be able to find your crew for who you feel comfortable with, but in the meantime, it's good to not need a crew, just to jump in and try. And it is kinda hard, like, there's a lot like I said, a lot of secret handshakes of who to ride with, where to ride, like, sometimes even if you go and ask a bike shop and you're like, where are the grip rides? They're like, well, I don't know if you can handle it. And it's like, tell me what I can handle then, like, so it's kind of what we have actually been trying to do. So feel free to check it out. If you have any questions, let me know.
Yep.
I don't make commission off saying any of this either. Like,
Yeah.
what I do because it gets people riding. And, our motto is like butts on saddles. And
Yeah.
whether you're using the app or not, like riding is riding. And if we can inspire someone to go get on a bike, and like, that's why I try to meet as many people as I can, because if I can personally inspire someone to get on a bike, like, hell yes. I found it late. I wish I found it earlier, but I found it and I'm stoked. And anybody can kind of find that feeling. So I think it's important. Just try to go for it, even if you're new.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and that's one of the things I'm hoping stays around from the COVID pandemic is so
Yeah.
many more people are on bikes, whether that's mountain bikes, whether that's road bikes, whether that's gravel, whether it's BMX. We just need more people on two wheels. And I hope that the people that have found it because there was nothing else to do last year have
Mhm.
found the passion for it the way you have, the way Andrew and I have. It was
Yeah.
kind of part of why we started the podcast, was to hopefully be a resource so that those people would really get bit by the bug like we did. And it's something you can do your whole life.
Absolutely. And that's part of the reason I even wanted to be a phys ed teacher in the beginning, was because I wanted kids to know that there were things that you could do for the rest of your life, even if your football career ended in high school.
Yeah.
Like I was happier teaching little ones, and they were more excited, but I had up to 8th graders, and like, that was my goal, was like, you can ride a bike and call it fitness. It's okay.
Yeah.
And like, I wanted people to know that, because that's cool. It's awesome. And you can do it forever. And as your life,
As you age, it's still easy on your joints. Like you never, like if you're a
exactly,
runner, there's going to come a point where your
Oh,
joints just aren't going to be able to take it anymore.
exactly,
Or if
exactly.
you're doing a sport that requires running, like there's going to come a point where it's just not going to work anymore. But like cycling doesn't have
Mhm.
that same impact, and you can,
No.
yeah, you may not go as fast, but you can still go out and enjoy it and be outside. And
Mhm. And not only that, there's so many cross coordinations with like spin class. Like,
yeah.
you got the winter blues, go spin for a little bit, because you're still getting that mental high of moving your legs like you're pedaling.
Mhm.
And it's still a social thing. So if you wanted it to be that, or if you wanted it to be solo, you make it solo. It's like, it's up to you. The world is your oyster for what you want to do with a
I
bike.
guess you
Yep.
don't Zwift on your BMX.
I don't, but I'm like super intrigued by like these video game Swift competitions, and I'm like, maybe I need in on this.
It's pretty cool. I mean, so I'm a little late to the game. I know Nick introduced me to it, and he makes me spend all my money. But like, I'm really apprehensive, very anti indoor riding, because it's freaking terrible. But like, Zwift has changed a lot of the way that I train and
I
everything.
mean, don't
So
get me wrong. If I have the choice, I'm taking the outdoor ride
oh
every day.
yeah, but
But like this time of year where it's dark at 5:30 and don't always
Yeah.
have time I know Andrew's more of a night rider than I am. Like, it was okay. We went out the other night and it was fine. I'll do it again probably, but like it won't be a regular thing.
you were so
But
Yeah.
excited. His first night ride, I was like, "How was it?" And he's like, "It's all right."
yeah, it was
I was
all
like,
right.
"Wow, such passion coming through. I can't even handle it."
I haven't ridden
I
in
don't know.
it
I
yet.
think it was just fried from your light.
I did have a pretty bright light that like vaporized things in front of me, but
I'm pretty
Well,
sure we had like 3 fried bunny rabbits on the way.
as long as you
it's
love
pretty
At
them.
damn
one point,
bright.
I was like, Andrew, can you turn that off of the bright setting? He's like, it is on the low setting.
This is as low as it'll go. It doesn't go any duller.
Yeah, but I think nothing is worse than like bombing a curb by accident in
Yeah.
the dark, and you don't know what.
Oh no,
where
we
you're
still
going.
hit twigs and stuff. Like we're on the road bikes, and like we still hit things. Like I was like, oh, I saw that, but I didn't like process it fast enough because there was a weird shadow or something.
Yep, yep, yep.
That's
Yeah, no, at one point we ran over something. I was like, I hope none of our tires are punctured. And you're like, that's not funny. I was like, I wasn't making a joke. That was a legit hope that our tires are not punctured.
Now you're in the park and your tires are flat. Oh God, no
yeah.
good.
So we end our regular episodes with a dream bike segment. And so we've been flipping that question then to our guests. What is your dream bike?
My dream
If
bike.
money were no object, what kind of setup would you run, or what kind of bike? Or
Oh my God.
this is where you shock all the listeners and go, I'd really like a specialized tarmac 7
All right.
SL7.
Well, all right. On the BMX side,
Yeah.
I'm I don't know. I'm happy. I'm so happy with my bike. I love my
I'm not
bike.
gonna lie, your bike is pretty sweet as far
Yeah.
as like look, and like it sounds like it's pretty much perfect for you. So
And it's
You
the
know,
best color.
yeah, I know. I love it. It's in with all of its scratches and like character. Like I love that. It's been through hell with me, and it's stood the test. But I've been looking at like I'd like a mountain bike now, and I think I want to do the Iceman race in
oh hell yeah.
Michigan. Yeah, well, so we went with my job, and
Okay.
I was like, "This is so," the vibes caught me. You know,
Yeah.
everyone's excited, and they don't care who you are. They're gonna say hi and have a full conversation with you. And I'm like, I ride BMX. They're like, what? I'm like, whole conversation on that side. But I just loved being there. It was so much fun. It was such a cool race to see, and now I want to do it. And I'm probably gonna die, and my knees are gonna explode, but it's fine. But I think I want. Oh my god, what bike was it? I'm like super intrigued by the Santa Cruz bikes because the colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that's like the worst thing. I don't know anything about them. I just know their colors are sick.
They
And I
are.
think
This is a
if
fact.
money was no option, I'd probably go get whatever like solid, good, I guess, type of Santa Cruz, but in like that lavender color.
Oh yeah.
That's like what no listener wants to hear because you're like, okay, Joss, like you don't know anything about these bikes, but like I don't know, man, colors get me. I'm like a marketing kid. Like you catch me with the logo and you catch me with those colors, like you got me.
Yeah.
I could see you rolling like a highball and like the
Okay.
chameleon. Highballs, it's one of their hardtail mountain bikes. It's a 29er. But
Okay,
yeah,
okay. Is that also a jumper?
I don't know.
Both ways, right? So I need all the knowledge. I'll take all the I've been talking to a few people on like what I need, and everyone said something different. I'm like, you guys are no help.
Um, I might have a few resources I'll send you once we're
I need
done.
all the resources. I gotta do some research. But yeah, I think that would be, I
Yeah,
guess,
because
my
I just bought a mountain bike. Ironically, it showed up a couple days after I broke my collarbone. But
oh god, it's the worst.
yeah, it was the box of irony is what I called it. But
Worst.
yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of getting into it, and I have a good friend that I rely on for pretty much sound advice because I did what I normally do and just did my own research, and that resulted in shit. And now my nephew has that bike, and it's great for him, but it was terrible for me. But yeah, like yeah, I'll send you one or two resources that might guide you in the right direction.
Oh yeah, I'll take all the advice because I think I'd like one eventually, and I don't know what direction I'm going. I know I want to try to jump it sometimes, so maybe I need something that can go both ways. But
Okay,
uh, yeah, I don't know.
that's cool.
I I I know that's like the worst. Like there's no shocker there, but
No, I mean it is what it is, and it's one of those things like once you get into it, there's so many minute details that you don't immediately understand. And it's like
yes,
road biking, right? Like everybody jumps into it and they don't necessarily think about their gear set and gear ratio. Like we have one listener that both I think both of us talked to a little bit, and I was explaining to him today the difference between like a triple and a double, and he's like, "Oh, I think it's a 27 speed," and I'm like, "Nah, man, it's probably just a 9 speed." And he's like, "No, I got three rings up front." And I was like, "Yeah, but you only refer to the actual only ones in the rear. You may have a triple up front, but really what you care about is the gear ratios in the rear, and you can achieve the same gear ratios with a double that you can with a triple, but it's just more shifting. Although with a triple, you can get pretty low. Like, yeah, like it
We
gets
get super nerdy sometimes on
it.
this episode on this
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
We had a YouTuber on a couple episodes ago, and we talked power meters super nerdy for like a half an hour.
okay, okay. I need to learn all this stuff, so I'll be tuning in more.
You might fall asleep on that one because that's a real nerd. Like,
Yeah, I was in my wheelhouse with that one because I'm like uber techie, uber nerdy. Andrew's like he's like more just like let's just send it. I'm going like I'm doing this. Don't care.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
I could see you
hell yeah.
riding. I'd look at a Jackal though. Like that could be you because it's like a BMX made love with a mountain bike.
Taking
Literally,
notes.
it's a 26er. So given that you're 5'3", it might be pretty good for you. But like
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's like a dirt pump track kind of. I don't know. It's what's his name? The guy that does ridiculous like street stuff. He's Scottish. He's a Red Bull athlete. Danny
Danny,
McCaskill. Yeah.
yo,
So he rides it.
he's
He
cool.
rides a Jackal, although his is way custom, but because
Oh,
he's
yeah.
freaking Danny McCaskill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you get to that level, it's like, oh yeah, I need a full custom bike. But yeah, that
Dang.
could go on. That conversation could go on for years.
Yeah, seriously, he's gnarly. But dude, I will take all the suggestions, all the text suggestions, anything you think that I'm interested in, send my
Right
way.
on, right on. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of all we had, and I really appreciate you coming on because it's, like I said, it's a little bit different for us. But you know, at the end of the day, we're all rolling on two wheels, so you know, there's a lot of crossover that I don't think people realize. So yeah, thank you for taking the time. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for
Hell
coming on.
yeah, thank you for having me. This was awesome. I'm so stoked that Lex pointed you guys in my direction. She's the coolest.
Hell
She is
yeah.
super cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, this was rad. And if you have any other questions to throw my way, let me know. And
Will do.
yeah, thanks guys. Much appreciated.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave us a review wherever you listen and tell your friends. It helps us get more listeners just like you. Also, be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you're enjoying this podcast and you want to help us bring you entertaining guests, please consider contributing to our Patreon. We appreciate your support. We're always open to suggestions for new topics, advice, and interviews. If you have a topic you'd like to hear about, be sure to drop us a line at postridecycling.com/topics. Hammer on, everybody.